Welcome to the DentiMax Tip of the Week. In this week's tip, I want to take a look at a recall function that I believe is underutilized. If we start by going to our patient list, and we'll pull up good old Janet Smith, obviously we've got a few options on what we're seeing here in regards to recall right off the bat. We can see that her last completed recall date was October 2nd. We have her set to come in on a 4-month basis. And her next eligible recall date is going to be March the 4th of next year. The feature that I want to show you is going to be in the options menu for your patient, and it's recall details. If we click on that, we can see the different service codes here that are pertaining to recall, and next to those you can see the last posted date. Obviously, this can be a great tool in trying to establish what your patient's next recall visit should be, and you can also schedule right out of this screen by clicking Schedule Now. If I chose my procedure codes that I want the patient to come back in for example, just a prophy and oral hygiene instruction, and click Schedule Now, it's going to give me a clipboarded appointment as of March 4th, 2015, which is when her next eligible recall date was. At this point, all I would need to do is grab Janet's appointment by left-clicking on it and holding it with my mouse, and moving it over to our agreed-upon time that we want to schedule her. The appointment doesn't necessarily have to be on the 4th. We obviously just happen to have an opening there, but you can still click between different days and see what's going to suit the patient best. If you take a look in the appointment details as well, you'll notice that the patient is scheduled for the prophy and oral hygiene instruction, which is what I had indicated before I clicked the Schedule Now button. If we go back into Janet Smith's record, I'm going to right-click and view patient information, and then click Recall Details. There's a couple other things I want to point out to you. Aside from showing the last posted recall date, you also have a section for recall notes. Here it says that patient wants to schedule family together all in the same day, and she'll call to schedule. As you continue to have further contacts with the patient, you can right-click in this space, insert a date and time stamp, and then make your additional note. So the patient scheduled the family and would like to book the next 2 recall appointments when in the office. So aside from keeping track of when they had what done and being able to schedule out of this screen, you can also keep track of any pertinent notes pertaining to recall specifically. Another key feature on this screen is that you can actually see the current insurance company's notes, which, depending on how much effort you put into those, can show you a lot of detail. So if we're looking at the last posted date, for example, of the FMX, wondering if Janet might be eligible for an FMX, we can see she had one October 31st of 2014. She's allowed to have an FMX once every 5 years based on her insurance notes. This can very quickly clear up if she's eligible for 2 prophies in a year, or if it's 1 per 6 months plus a day, or perhaps 2 prophies in 12 floating months. So you can plug all of those details onto the insurance plan and have that show up here when you're ready to schedule the recall appointment. This should be your go-to spot when looking at scheduling hygiene so that you make sure you're scheduling the patient for the appropriate service code items. It'll save you a step in having to create that appointment by just clicking Schedule Now after you select the items you'd like to schedule. And you can make sure you're within the frequency limitations based on that insurance plan. So hopefully going forward, you can make this your recall hub for every patient when you go to set them up for a recall appointment. You'll also notice that this screen auto prompts when you're checking the patient out if they are already due for a recall appointment and they were in for something else. That's a great opportunity to make sure you're covering all your bases as far as what you're scheduling, maximizing your potential of allowances for that appointment, and making sure you're not missing any pertinent notes in regards to their hygiene appointments. If you have any further questions regarding this week's tip of the week and how this works into the rest of the recall system, please feel free to give DentiMax a call at 1-800-704-8494. Thank you.